Good day, everybody. Today we're going to do lesson plan number 13, grade 3, term 2. Our topic is numbers 401 to 500, and we're going to do worksheet 49 in the DBE workbook or the SI Teacher worksheet. So just showing you worksheet 49. Then what we're going to do is we're going to see how it links to the CAPS curriculum. So you can pause here and you can have a look. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pause again at the resources. So here what you have is you have the essay or the resources you need. Please check them, tick them, and see what is required. Then the dictionary, you're going to go through the dictionary and understand these words for you as a parent and as a teacher. There's no need that the learner need to memorize these definitions. Okay, then we're going to start with the daily routine. So with the daily routine, you're going to pause here and you're going to ask these questions to your child or learners. Welcome back. So for the counting again, like the previous lesson activity, we're going to count between 0 and 500. Remember, we don't always need to start on the multiple of 10. We can, for instance, have 401, 411, 421. Then what we do is we can group at least 500 everyday objects. You might not, or we don't always have resources like this in the classroom. You can use the base 10 blocks, or the best is to ask your child where in the real life will they group things in hundreds. Challenge them. Always good at challenge, because if we challenge them, they put their numbers into context, into real life, and they really start to understand it. I want you to pause then and do the counting activity. Let's go to mental maths. So mental mathematics, we're going to do then subtraction. So I want you to give this to the children. They can do it orally or write down the answers. And then please support them. They might struggle at the beginning, but give them a hand to do these mentally. I want you to pause now. I'm going to then reveal some of my thinking. You don't need to show this to the learners, but children might think like this. Always ask them first, how did they get the answer? By them explaining to you, you can understand their thinking. And if they maybe had it wrong, you can pick up the error. It is always very important when we do mental mathematics that they orally explain to you how did they do it. You can pause and then check my way or the thinking behind this, but also make notes of the learners and the way you might think about this. Let's then carry on. So it's very similar to what we did with the previous number range. So firstly, what we're going to do is we can this time ask learners questions is, here we have 10 blocks. What is the difference between this and a rod like this? It's exactly the same. It's just these 10 little cubes put into one rod. Yes, the learners can answer and say the color differs as well. That's fine. Then what we're going to ask is we look at the rods and we're going to ask, what is the difference between all these rods and this one block? Or we ask them to compare it. Yes, they're exactly the same. They're equal, because if you put all of these together, we get hundreds. We can even count it 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 and put it into one block. Then the next activity is where you need to take out your flard cards and your place value cards again. And you can just ask the learners to tell you about the units and about the tenths. You can also build different numbers. And then lastly, we're going to look at the 100 blocks. So these each represents 100. This is how we show it with a card, a place value card, 400. Then the last question that you ask them again, we asked this question before, but let's see how they can remember, or we just revise it and ask them what's the differences between units, tens, and hundreds, or what's the similarities. I want you to pause here and do this activity. Welcome back. So what we're going to do again is we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 activities. You've been doing this before, so we're just going to use a different number range. So first you're going to write down 464 on something that's available at home or at school, where all the children or your child can see it. What you ask them then is to say the number. They then need to write down the number on whatever is available. Ask them to show it with your base 10 blocks, or show it like how I explained it in a previous activity, where we just make drawings to represent this. And then you can use your flood or your place value cards. I want you to pause now and then do these activities. Welcome back. So what I have here, and again, what I said is draw this number line with your child. So write down a 400 here and a 500 here and tell the child that we're going to count in tens. Remember to make your 11 lines, otherwise the number is not going to fit. So now you're going to tell them we're going to count in tens, but they're going to write down the numbers so they can understand what's the number line about. Again, you don't need fancy paper or any fancy resources. You can use old recycled paper, boxes, anything. You can even do it outside. Then you're going to ask the child more or less where is 464. So they must tell you 464 is between 460 and 470. And they can indicate it then with their finger more or less where it is. I want you to pause and do similar activities with your child. Welcome back. So the next number lines is in ones. So we're going to work from 460 to 470. And what we're going to do is you're going to ask these questions. I'm not going to repeat it again. I want you to pause here, go through these questions with your learners or child, and then repeat it another time using different numbers. It's time to pause. Welcome back. So the last activity is you're going to make these cards, or better, give the child empty little cards and them write these numbers on the cards. Shuffle them, ask them to place it from the smallest to the biggest, and then from the biggest to the smallest. Remember, how more practical work, how more your child will understand the concept. Let's then go and look at the different levels. You might need to repeat some of these questions or these activities on the different levels. Remember, we've been doing most of them already. So what you can do is you can give them different blocks. And what they can do is they can show you then different numbers. For instance, 471. Then they can say to you, 1 less than 472 is 471. You can also ask them, show me then what is 1 bigger than 472, and they can add then blocks. So you can do a lot of practical activities like this. Then what you can do is use your place value cards, and what we're going to use is we're going to use our units, tens and hundreds. As soon as you take it out of the packet or where you stored them, ask them first to sort it into units, tens, and hundreds, just to revise the concept. And then you ask them to build you these numbers. 484. Remember to place the cards on top of each other, so it then forms the number. You will see the place value cards will fit exactly on top of each other to form these numbers. You can also then ask them what is the value of the 8, and they can say 80. What's the value of the 4? 400, and so on. Very important that they understand place value. Then when you're done with the representative level, we can carry on with the worksheet. So the worksheet then is whatever we did practically, it's on the worksheet. It's almost the same, just a different number range than the worksheets we done before. You complete the worksheet, there's a problem solving. You can pause here and do the problem solving. So time to pause. Welcome back. And now we're going to do the consolidation. So you're going to answer the questions. If it's all yes, we're going to carry on to the next lesson. If you got some no's, you need to revise some activities, or contact SA Teacher for help.